Okay, you can stop the video for just a second here and copy the problem, and then what we're going to do is we're going to take your Ti-Nspire CAS calculator or your Ti-Nspire CAS calculator. We're going to see if we can find a way to just reinforce the answer that we know for the AP Calculus exam. Remember, an explanation on the AP Calculus exam cannot be I used my calculator, but it's a good way to assure ourselves that we have the right answer. So what we're asked to do is find an equation for the line tangent to f of x is equal to 4x squared minus x cubed at the point x is equal to 3. So this is what we're going to do. Turning on your calculator, please go to calculator. If you go to the left-hand side, it'll say something about scratch pad. I don't kind of get how that works, and I stay away from it the best I can. So all I'm going to do initially is just save this equation in the calculator. So it was 4x squared, wasn't it? It was 4x squared minus x cubed minus x cubed. Here's a really good piece of advice. When you're using your calculator this way, before you start hitting enter, just go back and make sure that you inputted it the way you intended to. Otherwise, your calculator has no idea what your intention was. So stupid as that sounds, it's good advice. For example, what I just did here is not cool. This is going to sort us in a really weird way. So what I have to do is go back to here and press this right cursor. And you see how the cursor is full here. If the cursor was just up at the 3, it would be reading something different than what my intention was. So I want to save this as a function. So I'm just going to hit Control. And when you go to Control, you start reading the blue sign that says STO, which is store. Store that and just name it. I always name my first function f of x. The reason that you're seeing mine is in bold already is because I stored one earlier. I'm going to replace that one with this one. So it says done. We know that we're asked to find a line tangent of this function at a specific point. So we can gather some information. We can gather the information, well, like what's f of 3, because that will give us a point. Whoa, hello. That will give us the y value, right? So we have f of 3. That means on this parent function, when x is 3, y is 9. So that gives us the point 39, because we're going to use point slope theorem here in a minute. The other thing that you can do, there's two ways to do this, and it depends on how much work you're going to do. Given this situation, I would do this. Hit your menu button. Your menu button is right here. Mine happens to be in this little toolbox, but if you go to your menu button, you'll see what I see. Here's calculus. Because I know I'm only going to take the derivative in one place, I'm just going to take the derivative at a point. The variable is x because it's f of x, right? And the value I want is 3. And I'm just going to say, okay, I want the first derivative. So what I haven't filled in yet is what's the function, and it's f, and you see it's in bold, which means that it recognizes that I intend to use a function here. And it says the first derivative of f of x at x is equal to 3 is negative 3. All right? So that's one way you could do that. If you thought you were going to do more than that, what I would do is this. I would go to calculus here. I would go to calculus. I would take the derivative. It gives you ddx of f of x. Whoops, hello, I keep screwing that up. Of f of x. And I think that's what you expected, isn't it? Because the first derivative of this would be 2 times 4 is 8. Decrement this exponent here by 1, and that gives us x to the first power. Then 3 times negative 1 is negative 3. Decrement this by 1 is this, isn't it? How is that helpful to us now? Well, if you were doing something like, God, if you were doing Newton's iteration, this would be really, really helpful. So what you would do here is the same thing we did before. You go back to the face of your calculator, and you'd hit Control Store. And then this is what I usually do. I usually take my initial function. I always call it f of x. I call its first derivative g of x. Now, you don't have to do it that way, but it kind of works for me, is g of x. The second derivative, of course, is h of x. And if you go to a new problem, you can just put it in new values just to replace. You don't have to delete anything. So let's try that. Let's see if g of 3, right? G of 3, right? The first derivative of this function when x is 3 should be this, shouldn't it? Because this, what this says is exactly this, isn't it? So it should give us negative 3, right? Okay, so this is where we're going from here. What I'm going to do from here is just simply take this point here. So check me out here. I'm just going to right? Now I'm just going to do a little bit of handwork here and just say this. I'm going to use point slope theorem, right? So point slope, or point slope form, however you want to describe that, which is y minus y sub 1 is equal to m, right? The slope times x minus x sub 1, where y sub 1 and x sub 1 are the points given to us. Well, look, all I have to do is go and fill in the blanks. I know that the slope, right, because we were asked to find an equation of the line tangent to the graph of f at x is equal to 3. So f prime at 3 is negative 3, so there's that negative 3 right there, right? That's the slope, right? That's this negative 3 right here, right? And then we're asked for the y value, and we know that when x is 3, y is 9, right? So that's this 9 right here, isn't it? And then lastly, we know that the x value is 3, right? Because that's the x value that we were assessing this at was 3. Some purple, I guess. We had f of 3, so that's the x value that they gave us. So this is that x value right here. Now, where you go from here is up to you. Let me just say this. If you're taking the AP Cal exam, the AB, this is an equation. You don't have to finish this up. If you want to, though, you can. It would give us negative 3x plus 9 here, wouldn't it? Y minus 9. You'd add 9 to both sides, and yes, y is 18. I'm going to say this to you one more time, though. This is not necessary. This is an equation, and this will do for them. Okay? All right. I hope this was helpful. If you know any tricks with your calculator, seriously, I'd love to hear them. And another thing that I am hearing people doing now that I wanted to share with you is that people are taking their iPhones and they're taking their flashcards. They're making pictures of the front and back of their flashcards. Some have to schlep around that low tech. And when they want to look at their flashcards, they just go to their camera and their smartphones and pan through them. So if that's something that will help you on your AP exam, by all means, man, do your thing. So.